Right. Good morning. Good morning to everybody in the room. Good morning, everybody who's watching this. It's fantastic to be here. I'm so pleased to be invited by the TDRA for this Rewiring Your Brain for Success at Work session today. Thank you so much for having me here. And I look forward to having a wonderfully interactive session with everybody here. So today, when we're having this conversation, we also need to understand that this conversation couldn't have come at a better time, because right now we are beginning to find out what is the science behind any kind of success that we gain at your workplace. What is the science behind how we manage our adversity? And so this is a great conversation that we are having right now. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite you to this idea that maybe in the future, there will be no hiring and recruitment without brain mapping. There might be no psychometric assessments. There might not be any interviews, but the way the people will be selected will possibly be because of brain mapping or other such brain techniques that have come into our work lives as well. So welcome again to all of you. Welcome again. And a little bit about myself before we proceed to this session today. So my name is Smita, and I have been in the UAE for the last 10 years. And in this last 10 years, I've had the opportunity of working with government and non-government and semi-government organizations as a coach, consultant, and trainer. I'm a coactive coach from CTI, which is the oldest coaching organization in the world. I'm also a positive psychology practitioner from Flourishing Center, USA, and an occupational therapist. We also are into assessment centers for organizations. And I'm the founder of the Unlimited Company. We work with brain health, we work with rewiring the brain, and we are committed to changing your life stages through that. So great to be here once again, and super being with all of you. Great. Before we start today's sessions, everyone, I'd like you to open up your mind to this idea that what exactly does brain rewiring mean? What are the myths that we are surrounded by, So quickly, if you could give me some answers here. And this line that you see, the genes determine the fate of our brains, is this a myth or is it a factual statement? What do you think it is? Anybody who's in the waiting room? Anybody who's in the audience right now? Yeah? So genes do not determine our brains. Lifelong neuroplasticity allows our lifestyles and actions to play a meaningful role. And genetics do not play a role in the way we develop our brains or how our brain ages. Aging means automatic decline. This again is a wrong myth that we have. Aging does not mean that we have an automatic decline, not at all. In fact, there's nothing fixed about our brains as such, right? And finally, medication, actually, third one, medication is the main hope for cognitive enhancement. This again is a wrong statement, whereas we have so many non-invasive interventions that can have comparable and more durable effects and no side effects practically, So this again is a myth that we are laboring under. We all have something called brain age. Myth or fact? This again, do you think it's a myth or is it a fact? It is most likely a myth because there's nothing like a brain age. No two individuals have the same brain or expression of brain functions. So we cannot really stereotype the brain age. All brain activities or exercises are equal. So whether we do this or that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This actually means that there are varied and targeted exercises which are necessary for the brain. Yeah. So, yeah, I hope that the slides are visible to everyone because they certainly are to me. Can we have some responses here, ladies and gentlemen? Are all the slides visible to all of you? Yeah. Okay. So, I would like you all to answer the following questions for yourself, if you can. Could you please go into the questions for yourself and see if you can answer any of these? Yeah. So, would you call yourself a rational person with strong positive beliefs? Rate yourself, please. Is that a poor assessment of yourself? Average? Do you think yourself as a positive person with strong belief system? Is that very good? Is that excellent? What is it, ladies and gentlemen? Secondly, your food and nutrition has too much carbs, sugar, raw foods, or coffee. Can you tick any or more of these, one or two or three or maybe four of these? Yeah. How would you rate your exercise habits? Is it poor? Is it average? Is it good? Is it excellent? How would you rate your exercise habits? Are they poor? Are they average? Are they good? Are they excellent? And finally, what are your stress management techniques? What are your stress management techniques? What do you do that helps you manage your stress better on an everyday basis? Is it like a weekly affair, once in a month? Do you do it on a daily basis? What is the routine that you have for yourself that helps you manage your stress? Great. Great. And if you have answered all of these, I would like you all to please take a look at this slide here. And this is called the mild TBI symptom checklist. TBI stands for traumatic brain incident. You know, the brain is a very, very soft organ of our lives. It's the concentration of a butter. It's soft butter, right? And it's covered by the cranium, by the skull, which is also not very strong. So, any kind of a mild impact that your head has may have an adverse impact on your brain functioning. Only we do not know about it. Okay. So, we have to understand that even something as harmless as hitting a basketball with your head can cause you to have a brain impact. And you may never realize that you have a brain impact which is less than good for you or is adverse for you. And these are mild TBI symptoms. So, if you're bothered by light, dizziness, feeling tired, headaches, nausea, attention, feeling slowed down, or any of these, it's a good time to assess yourself. And if you find that you are probably, having 10 or 7 or 8 or any of these things, it will be a great idea to go to the medical practitioner that you go to and ask them to look into it. Get a brain scan done, find out what's happening with your brain. So, brain awareness is very, very important to us right now. Many a times we bang our head somewhere and we don't think about something at all, but it may be possible that it might impact your brain functioning. you know so this is something that we need to look into, ladies and gentlemen. So please take a look at this slide and see where you are. Great. I'll move on to the next slide if you all have finished. Yeah. And then we have brain rewiring. What do we mean by brain rewiring? What does it mean to us when we say that we will rewire our brain? Okay. And all of us over here are living in the UAE. I'd like you to close your eyes and recollect a time when you have either gone camping in the desert, or you have gone dune bashing, or you have gone for off-roading, or any of these activities. And what comes to your mind in these situations is a car, okay, which is making tracks on the sand, okay? And this image I would like you to keep in your mind, ladies and gentlemen, because this image is the exact metaphor of what the brain functioning and the brain pathways that we make. So consider this. Think of the vehicle as your lifestyle, nutrition, stress management, physical stimulation, mental stimulation, okay? That is the vehicle that is making all the tracks. What is it making on the tracks on? It's making it on your brain, which is the sand. Changing, soft, and impressionable. That is how our brain is. All right? And the tracks that you see are your brain pathways. These are your brain wirings, ladies and gentlemen. This is how your brain is changing. So if somebody else drives a car over here, there'll be a new set of tracks. And then a new set of tracks. It is changeable. It is malleable. It is entirely soft. It is never fixed. Okay? And so when we talk about this is the brain that we have. And these are the various functions. I will not bore you by going into all these functions about which is spatial, which is temporal, which is planning, organizing. We don't need to go into that. What we need to understand is that this is what your brain looks from the inside. This is what your brain looks from the inside. And the hero of your learning brain are neurons or brain cells. And these brain cells are connected by these synapses, these connections that you see. Okay? And every day we have hundreds and millions of thoughts, mental impulses, and these are creating electrical impulses inside your brain. Okay? So these neurons are connected by the synapse, and every day we have electrical impulses in your brain. Every day. And this is the hero of your learning brain, because the brain cells and the synaptic connections decide how much we can learn or we cannot learn. And isn't that fantastic, really? Take a look at this now. This is the actual image of your brain learning something new. These synaptic connections that you're seeing that are being made are new connections that are being made with each other. Okay? So every time when we learn something, a new synaptic connection is made. The synapses join differently. Okay? This is the biology of your learning. This is how learning looks like on a mind mapping or on an fMRI or any of the devices that we have. Yeah? And so learning anything new is the process of changing the brain physically. It is not something that we just do it and there's no change in your brain. It's a physical reality. Every time when you have something new that you learn, the brain changes itself a little. So if you're wanting to learn something, it cannot happen over a period of 1 day or 2 days. Typically, it takes 6 weeks for a brain to get rewired. 6 weeks, okay, minimum 6 weeks. And so brain rewiring, the basic essentials of it, the basic blocks of it is that the brain rewiring means new neurons or new brain cells are being created. That means neurogenesis. And new synaptic connections are being made, which is new connections are being made in those brain cells. And this together means that we have a plastic brain. Okay, we have a changeable brain. We have a moldable brain. This is called neuroplasticity. Okay. And this neuroplasticity is the hero of your achievement at workplace. This is the driver of all your success at workplace. How plastic is your brain? How easily do you learn? What is the flexibility that you have towards any new learning process or any new environment? That is what decides how well we do in life, or at workplace, or in our private lives. Okay. I'd like to ask you something, ladies and gentlemen. How many of you are facing problems at your work? Maybe it's a career transition. Maybe it's a new job, or maybe it's no job. Maybe it's the fact that you don't have the growth that you want. Maybe you're feeling stuck in the same place that you have. And for all of these, what do we do? What do organizations do? We go for training programs, right? So we have training programs such as decision making, problem solving, planning, execution, emotional intelligence, people skills, and goal setting. And all of these are called the executive functions of your brain. Your brain has this big umbrella under which this executive function comes out to. Okay. So everything that we do at your workplace is decided by your brain, which is an executive function thereof. So whether you want to have a goal-oriented behavior, you want to start something new, finish something new, your neurons and your synaptics will decide it. If you want to have an insight into other people, if you want to have people skills, again, neurons and synaptics will decide it. Do you want to be flexible, open to change, open to new environment? Synaptics will decide it. Do you want to be more focused in your life? You want to withstand distractions? Synaptics and brain health and neurogenesis will decide it. This is your neural network, ladies and gentlemen. This is the neural network, the wiring of your brain. Okay. Again, if you want to break down complex tasks into more manageable tasks, again, it is synapses and neurogenesis or neurons that will help you over there. You want to do problem solving, decision making, understanding other people, doing self-regulation. All of these have their home in this. The bottom of the stack is not brain health. It comes at the top of the stack, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, that is what it all amounts to. So for anything that you want, whether you want to have long-term memory, whether you want to have better self-regulation skills, whether you want to have personal mastery, leadership, okay, mentoring other people, taking the lead, go into your brain health. Go into your brain health. That is vital. Okay. And therefore, if you have a plastic brain, if you have a moldable brain, plasticity. So any habit takes over your brain. It's called a neural net. And the more we repeat it, it has more control over us. Okay. So a good habit repeated will start having more control. Each time you have a bad habit and you repeat it again, it's a place of more control. And unlearning this is not possible, ladies and gentlemen. Unlearning it is not possible. What we can do is to form new ones. How many of you are probably having some sort of a belief problem with what you're feeling or what you're working with in your workplace? You feel that you're not good enough, or you have a poor sense of conviction about what work that you do. This again comes down to neuroplasticity. So when a person says, I don't have anything to offer, when you say that, every time you repeat that, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay? Till then, and it will start deciding how you're actually going to behave. But if you create an alternative thought that I can support people in identifying solutions to their problems, I can help people out, or I'm better than what I was yesterday, then you will find that you can actually change that thought as well by creating it into a habit and visiting it on an everyday basis. And after 6 weeks or so, you will see that you're a new person. Okay? And again, you might not realize it, but if your brain was mapped, this will show on your brain. Okay, so you've changed a bit, all right? So that is that. So please reflect for about, I'll not give you 7 minutes because we're a little short of time. Maybe a minute is good. What are the things that you have strong neural nets for? What is a belief that you hold about yourself? What thoughts may you have repeated often that you got you to that belief? Okay. Think about it, this, ladies and gentlemen. If you work on this, your life changes big time. Okay. This is the biology of your belief system. This is the biology of what you have held true for yourself. So take a look right here and decide that what thought processes do you have which do not serve you, which don't feel right in your body, which don't feel make you feel good about yourself, and that you're holding on to. Okay? And I'd like you to answer these questions about yourself. Your intelligence is something very basic about you that you cannot change very much. You can learn new things, but you can't really change how intelligent you are. You're a certain kind of person, and there isn't much that can be done to really change. Do you believe this to be true or false? The second set is, no matter how much intelligence you have, you can always change it quite a bit. You can always substantially change how intelligent you are. No matter what kind of person you are, you can change substantially. So the first slide corresponds to the fixed mindset. Okay, yes. So brain rewiring has got a lot to do with the mindset that we are hearing about, the growth mindset, the fixed mindset. I believe that you already have a session on that. So anything that believes that it's fixed, nature given, and cannot be changed, and has a judgment about one's own self or other people is a fixed mindset. Whereas the second questionnaire is got to do with the growth mindset, which is more malleable, more curious, more nurturing, and more learning, right? So these two mindsets are important to understand. Where are we using a fixed mindset? Where are we using a growth mindset? We can't always be growth everywhere. We can't always be fixed everywhere. Maybe we are a combination of these. And this is what rewiring does. Before rewiring, you will probably say, I'm a bad salesperson, and therefore you'll give up trying to improve. And therefore, it will result in lack of sales. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay. On the other hand, a growth mindset says selling is a skill set. And so we practice and we learn new skills. And therefore, with sales and time and with practice, we become better. So the fact of the matter is this, that every time when we rewire our brain, we are creating a new reality for our own selves, for our mind to believe in. And that is the precursor of your success at your workplace. You cannot have a poor belief system and operate at optimum at your workplace. You cannot. It is a contradiction in terms, because sooner than later, these fixed mindsets will catch up with you, and that is where professionals start plateauing out. In my 18 years of work life, this is what I have seen with people, is that they start out with a growth mindset, but with increasing years, they start going into fixed mindset because of fixed habits, fixed nutrition, fixed ways of thinking, and that is where the growth mindset gets stopped and the fixed mindset starts creating a new fulfilling prophecy for them, which is that they plateau out, they don't grow anymore. Okay. So, and this is called long-term potentiation. That is, that thoughts that fire together. Every time you're making these thoughts fire, they are going up these, synaptic connections. You're creating a new alternative reality for yourself. Yeah. So that is that. And this is what you talk like when you have a rewired brain. Instead of saying, I'm a failure, you will say, I failed, I need to work harder. Instead of saying, I'm smart, you will say, I learned something. What should I do to sustain that knowledge to get better? What does effort mean? If it doesn't go easily enough, it means I'm not good enough. But the growth mindset says, the rewired brain says, effort is what makes me smarter. So I might appear dumb, but this is an opportunity to learn and grow. Perfect performance right away. When I learn something new, I do better. Attitude towards others and self is judge me. Whereas in the growth mindset, it says it's a resource. Any experience is a resource, ladies and gentlemen. It is not something that is final. It is not. And there is such hope in what we are putting out over here. There's hope for you. That's what we are saying. Yeah. This is what a healthy and an unhealthy brain looks like on a brain scan. So when healthy brains were mapped, they looked like this, and unhealthy brains look like this. And unhealthy brains are sadder, sicker, poorer, not as smart, rigid, and inflexible. They are also prone to judging themselves and other people, whereas healthy brains are happier, healthier, wealthier, wiser, more creative, more innovative, definitely more open to experiences. So these are questions that we need to ask and answer for ourselves. And what really, really injures our brain are these things right here. Brain injuries, like we discussed, the TBI or the traumatic brain injuries or incidents. Drugs and alcohol, obesity, smoking, high blood pressure, okay, diabetes, the SAD diet. What is the SAD diet? It's the standard American diet. Burgers and fries and, fizzy drinks. Environmental toxins, lack of exercise, and ANTS, which is standing for automatic negative thoughts. Okay, we will go into that in a little while. Yeah. So fixed is physiologically false. Neuroplasticity can be viewed as a general umbrella term that refers to the brain's ability to modify, change, adapt both structure and function throughout your life. It's never too late. Whether you're 30 or 40 or 50, brain age is a myth. We do not need to buy that anymore. I'd like you all to quickly take a look at this slide right here, okay? And you can start with your arms around your shoulder blades and move it downwards. And while you're doing this, you can say calm, safe, peaceful, hopeful. Calm, safe, peaceful, hopeful. Calm, safe, peaceful, hopeful. Calm, safe, peaceful, and hopeful. And let your breath release. And what you will now see is that a little by little, your body is beginning to release these positive chemicals, these neurotransmitters called serotonin and dopamine that help you think better. Okay? And you may not see it, but you can map it on your brain, and that's the beautiful thing. The same thing maybe you can do with your hands. As you wash your hands, you can keep on saying safe, calm, peaceful, hopeful. And that also helps us in calming our stressed brains down, bringing up the serotonin and dopamine levels in our body, which are happy chemicals as we call them, increasing brain function, improving your neurotransmitter, and that's one thing that you can do. And you don't do it once a week, ladies and gentlemen, you do it every day. Do it in the washroom. Do it after you've had your lunch. Do it when you're having a walk anywhere. Make it a target practice so that you do not miss it. Okay, give it 5 minutes every day. That's all that you're required to do. That's one quick technique to bring your stress levels down. The other thing is that we have 4 pillars of of brain rewiring. So we have mental stimulation, nutrition, physical, and neurofeedback. Okay, so we'll start first with the mental simulation. This is called the cognitive behavior therapy or the cognitive therapy, which we will do in a quick manner right now so that you can understand. What does cognitive therapy do? It tells us that our thoughts will decide our feelings, which will decide our emotions and our behavior. So change your thoughts to change your feelings. That's one way that you rewire. There are no shortcuts, ladies and gentlemen. We have to do due diligence over here, right? Okay, great. So take a look at these things. Every time when we believe it, when we have a thought, we are likely to believe it. But we cannot believe all our thoughts. The reason being that most of our thoughts are actually distorted thoughts. They are thoughts which are called distorted thoughts. Okay? So take a look at this. This is what our thoughts look like. All or nothing, which is to say, it's either my way or highway. Overgeneralization. Everybody behaves like this. Mental filter. I had a great day, but the lunch was so bad. Jumping to conclusions. I'm late for my work today. I'm definitely going to land up in trouble with my boss. Fortune teller. I know exactly what he or she is thinking. I know exactly what's going to happen in my life. Catastrophizing. Every small thing becomes the worst case scenario in your mind. Labeling. They should not do this because they should not act silly, they should not act, foolish. These are labels. Should statements. I should not do this, you should not do that. And personalization to say that we I'm feeling this and therefore I might be right. Okay. It's very personal. That person has not spoken to me and therefore they probably don't like me. Again, that's personalization. So if we were to look at this slide right here, these have all our statements. Ever since Lisa, I can't trust redheads. Other people seem much smarter than me. You're either for me or against me. You should never ask personal questions. He's always smiling, but I know that he hates me. Okay. I enjoyed the party, but the food was so bad, so bad. But these are actually thought distortions. These are thought distortions. We don't give them any credence. We don't lend them any trust because the first statement is a generalization. The second one is an emotional reasoning. Third one is a black and white thinking. The fourth one is a should statement. The fifth one is mind reading. And then we have the positive disqualifier. Yeah. So that's that. Look at the statement right here. Ever since Lisa, I met Lisa, I just can't trust that whole department. Right here, we have some difficult statements going on for a person. Every time I cross it, I know that they're talking about me. I feel so silly. Maybe I am. I don't know. I feel that one day they will just spoil my chances at promotion. These are all examples of what your thoughts are looking like. You cannot rewire your brain. You cannot rewire your brain unless you have worked upon your thought process. So, somatically, you help yourself relax down. That's the first step. Secondly, you help out clear up your thoughts. You can just Google this up on YouTube or go for worksheets. They are available on Google everywhere. You can do this on an everyday basis. Better to journal this down on an everyday basis because that's how your brain gets better at what you're doing. So, any event or adversity that you have does not actually have any consequences by itself. It is your belief about it, your thoughts about it. That is what causes the emotional consequences. Okay? So that is the CB or the CBT or the cognitive therapy that we have. Okay? And all our beliefs come down to this. Okay? I have to be treated by others like I want them to treat me. I have to be perfect and successful. My life outcomes have to be the way I want them to be. These are all core beliefs that are actually wrong, which always land up in trouble. And that is why the brain goes into stress. And we don't want that to happen. So de-stress with Havening technique. Go on to change your thoughts with this technique. That's the second step. The third step is very vital, which is nutrition. And I wanted to introduce you to this gentleman, which is called Bdnf, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Okay, never mind the fancy name. We'll just call it Big Dads Never Fail. Okay, Big Dads Never Fail. And this is what we should be doing. Are you on to supplemental nutrition, ladies and gentlemen? Are you taking your supplements? These supplements are mandatory for good health. So magnesium, if I was caught in an island anywhere, I would not leave without my magnesium. Okay. MCT oil, easily available in your grocery stores, anywhere that you so wish. Easily available. Please include it. Zinc, definitely. Omega 3, we all know. The rest also, curcumin, niacin, etc., they are all very, very good for your brain functioning. Do not please let's depend upon our food alone to provide us all that we need. It is not sufficient. It is not. And if you're including all these foods, you know, in your everyday diet, you're in a good space. So, dark chocolate and coffee lovers, this is good news for you. 1 cup of coffee in a day is great for your BDNF. What is a BDNF? It helps the brain think better. It's protein for the brain. That's what it does. Simply put, there's so much of scientific data around this, we really cannot make it very heavy. But this is what you need to do if you want to increase your BDNF. Okay, BDNF helps you think better, adds more, power behind your brain, so to speak. That's what it does. And these are the resources for neurofeedback. So these websites, I highly recommend bumocity.com. It's a fantastic website. It does great. Okay. You can go into that. And the other thing is that we can look at these softwares to help our brain train ourselves. Okay. Yeah. So CogMed is good, Brain Fitness is also good, DriveFit is also good. These are good programs that you can use, good softwares that can use for neurofeedback. And finally, we have exercise. Okay, exercise is boosts your BDNF. That's what it does. All right, that's what it does. So the more you exercise, the more your protein in your brain goes up, and that's how it should be. Yeah. Other techniques are learn a new skill, learn a new language, solve puzzles, do brain teasers, be curious. Okay. And I'd like to show you one of the ways that we actually develop some amount of assumptions is this worksheet right here that I've done for you. And you'll excuse me, I'd like to go back into this. Take a look at this right here. I'm not sure if I should stop beating my wife. Okay. He has a wife. What does this mean? He has a wife. He loves his wife. He currently beats his wife. He's a bully and he should be prosecuted. The second statement, if I don't learn how to communicate with my boss, I won't get a raise. He feels he's being treated unfairly. He does not know how to communicate with his boss. His salary is connected to his communication. He wants to learn new behaviors. I have to set up unrealistic expectations. He feels trapped. He has expectations. He knows he's being unrealistic. He wants others to respect him. And the correct answers over here would be only this. Okay. A lot of people who would be emotionally driven would probably say this or this, but the factual answers are only this because what is he beating his wife at? Is it at a sport? Is it at a car race? What is it? You don't know. You've assumed. If I don't learn how to communicate with my boss, I won't get a raise, right? He feels he's being treated unfairly. He doesn't know how to communicate with his boss. His salary is connected to his communication. He wants to learn new behaviors. The correct answer is this and this only. Only, gentlemen, ladies. Okay, and the final answer is only this. And the reason I'm showing you all of this, the reason that I'm showing you all of this is because this is how our brain works. This is how our brain is getting wired on an everyday basis. And unless we change these habits, unless we start destroying our thoughts, start eating more healthy in terms of including more BDNF, that is your hero of your entire show is BDNF. Don't stop right here. Research more. We have a limited amount of time. That's what we don't want to, so we cannot really go much into that. But if that's one thing that you should do is to reintroduce that one thing into your everyday life. Okay. Second thing, of course, is do a lot of havening techniques, that you can do on an everyday basis. I promise you, within 1 week, you will see the difference. Within 6 weeks, you will feel definitely a new person emerging from you. That is for sure. Okay. So when we have done all of these things, then do we realize that our brain health is absolutely in our hands. It's got nothing to do with what situation you're feeling or what you are actually facing. It's only got to do with how well are you able to turn that into a learning session. Everything about your brain is all about learning. It's nothing to do with, what you're feeling. There is no concrete reality outside, gentlemen, ladies. Whatever you're feeling right now is only a consequence of how your brain is functioning, and that can be changed. Okay. So this is what we want to look at, and I'd like to introduce two or three very, very good books for you. That is, we have over here The Brain That Changes Itself. Please, please, if you need to read one book in modern times, it is this book, The Brain That Changes Itself, and the writer is Norman Doidge, MD. It's the root for all the research that we have. It has given so much of data on all the research that's happening around the brain and how it has been incorporated in our work lives. That's important. Can Teach a Dog New Tricks. That's a second book. Okay, that's a second book that we need to look into. And the third is The Biology of Belief. Okay, the biology of belief. These are exceedingly, exceedingly important, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so before we go into the question and answer session, I'd like to quickly go back to the first slides and sort of, you know, quickly understand what we have learned. So what we have learned is that the brain is very much like the car, sand, and the tracks analogy. Okay, the brain is your sand, the tracks are your wirings, the neural nets that we are making, and the cars are your everyday lifestyle, nutrition, stress management, physical simulation, and mental stimulation. Okay, the hero of your brain, of course, is the neurons and the synapses. When they connect, a new learning is made, and when a new learning is made, what happens is that we are actually changing the brain physically and not just metaphorically. So whatever you learn, if it is mapped, it shows up on the brain. And so brain rewiring has got brain neurons, new synaptic connections, which leads to neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the hero of your success, ladies and gentlemen. Do not devalue this. All that you do in your workplace, which is a lot of this and similar skill sets, you need to understand that they are actually driven by your brain. You cannot learn them in a classroom. This is the interesting. Every time when we sit in the classroom and we study, it is like a bulb which is not lighting up. It is like a bulb which is not lighting up. You send the same people out in the open to play and learn around it, or to find out something in a more interesting manner, and their bulbs will light up. So classroom learning never helps, and that is why maybe a lot of these training programs are being, there's a rethink around them which is happening, right? So any of these abilities, if you're struggling with them, we need to go back to it and understand that your brain needs nourishment, it needs care. And the significant thing about this is this, ladies and gentlemen, that we don't realize that a lot of our lifestyle choices are basically amounting to brain abuse. They are brain abuse, nothing else, right? So, that being said, we understand this that neuroplasticity can change over a period of time, but we cannot erase it all by itself. We have to form new habits, new habits. And this is what it will look like. You don't have to change it in a day, but over a period of time, if you start investing in a new thought process, it can definitely change you, right? So I hope that you've identified what your strong neural nets are for. What is the belief that you hold? Okay, how often are you repeating them on a daily basis? How often are they creating your own reality? Let us take our lives back in our control. And the one way of doing it is to understand that brain rewiring doesn't always happen with gadgets. No, it happens with everyday habits. Yeah. And that is how we go to have from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. That's what we do. Yeah. And finally, we have long-term potentiation, which means that every time your thoughts are firing together, they are wiring together, and they are creating the space to be able to learn more things and more things, right? So we need to understand what thoughts are going together. Okay. Fixed and growth mindsets have totally different language. So change the language that you're using to yourself. There are two kinds of languages that we use. We have the private language and we have the public language. Our private language is mostly this, fixed. And if we don't work upon this, ladies and gentlemen, we don't move here. If we don't challenge this, we don't move here. Okay? Healthy and unhealthy brains, as we already spoke of earlier, right? So let's move to a wiser, more creative, more innovative, and happier and healthy brain. Yeah. Eliminate all your diets, reduce all your carbs, because not all together, but reduction is a good idea, because carbs and sugar create what you call oxidative stress in your brain. Okay, it leads to high degree of oxidization, which the opposite of which is antioxidants. So when we are having antioxidants, what we are basically doing is we are reducing our brain damages. Okay, kill your automatic negative thoughts. Okay, learn to work with your automatic negative thoughts. Yeah, and invest in stress management. Self healing practice is one of the very many ways that we can do this. The other ways that you can do it is any kind of somatic toolkit is placing your heart, a hand on your heart and the other on your belly, and just deep breathing for 5 to 7 minutes on an everyday basis. That also brings your stress level down, improves your serotonin, improves your dopamine, improves your brain functioning and your neurotransmitters. Yeah. So that is that. And of course, mental discipline through cognitive therapy is most important. Research tells us that this is the most important bit. You don't manage your thoughts, nothing is going to help you. The funny thing is this, that all your thoughts are residing in your body. All of it is residing in your body. So after some time, your thoughts don't remain in your brain, they go inside your body and they are somatically experienced. Okay. And when we do that, then we realize that we have to work both with the thoughts and with the body. They go hand in hand, they are not one or the other. Yeah. And so that is it. And the way to work with your thoughts is that we have to understand that we are all open to cognitive distortions. What are cognitive distortions? Your thoughts, which are distorted thoughts. They are all or nothing, they are overgeneralization, mental filter. And mind you, these don't happen outwardly, because outwardly we are making all the right noises, but your mind is constantly saying this to yourself in a private language, and that is what you need to cut down. Okay, this will show up sooner than later. And the other interesting bit is this, that people who are not able to handle these kind of thought process are more prone to mental illnesses in their later life. That is big reason to worry, ladies and gentlemen, that you're more prone to mental illnesses as if you do handle it as compared. Yeah. So, and all of these assumptions that we keep having about ourselves, about other people, about the language around us, we need to break that. So, discipline your brain a little more. Discipline your brain a little more, yeah? And these are the ways that we can challenge our thoughts every day. Challenge them, write them down, rephrase them, rethink them, and you will realize that a lot of your thoughts and the stress that you're creating are only just that. They're only thought processes. They are not realities, yeah? So that is the other bit. And so all of these beliefs come down to the three beliefs that either people should treat me right, or I should achieve exactly what I wanted to. And if I'm not perfect and successful, then I'm not acceptable. These are the three not enough statements that our brain goes into. So we have to change that around. Okay. We spoke about nutrition, and so BDNF is exceedingly important. Okay, the big dads never fail. Please remember this. They are essential for your long-term memory. They're essential for new neurons being developed and promoting more synaptic connections. They create new neurons. They help preserve the existing neurons. Okay, raw foods really help this as well. Okay, so we need to go into that as well. And all of these supplemental nutrition, please go to the store that you go to your pharmacy and pick up these after a quick search on the Google as to what suits you, or check with your practitioner and ask what you should be going for. Yeah, increase your intake of all of these foods that help you, be better. Okay. These are great websites for testing yourself. They're also there in app form. Limosity is a great app. I've tried it. It works wonders. I thought it was fantastic. It keeps you on your toes. Okay. And then, of course, these are softwares that you can go for. Yeah, that's that. And physically, exercise every day. So like you sleep, like you eat. So 45 minutes of exercise every day. Okay, learn to read a sentence backwards, learn a new skill, a new language, solve puzzles, do brain teasers, be curious. Basically, be childlike in the way you approach your life, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and of course, like we said, uh, the 3 books that we would like to do for yourself. So if you have any questions, I would look forward to them. If you have anything that you would like to ask, find out, pick my brains on. It's a great time to ask any of these questions if you're having any. Okay. Um, Anyone? Any questions? Please. This is open house now, and I absolutely love having questions. So looking forward to all of you having saying this. Yeah. Anybody? Okay. Okay. We have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that our brains are something that we have not inherited. We have not taken this, oh, that my father was like this or my grandfather was like this. That is why I too think like this. There's nothing like this at all. Okay. Your epigenetics, not your genetics, your epigenetics, which is your environment, is most important. Okay. So they say that the 5 people that you're surrounded with most will decide your brain health the most. Okay. It doesn't matter where you came from or what was your background, it changes. The other myth that we also have is that no, we can reverse our brain to make it 10 or 20 or 30. No, we can't reverse brain age. No, we can't do that. But we can find new ways of energizing the brain to learn better, to do better at your workplaces, at your personal life. And do you think that your work life and your personal life are 2 different areas that do not coincide with each other? No. It's the same belief system which is there and the same belief system which is at your workplace and in your personal life, which actually impact each other. Okay. So one of the things that an unhealthy brain does is avoiding things. Okay, so if you're too much into reading or too much into watching something or too much into gadgeting, these are all addictions and these are also avoidant behaviors. Again, these can cause your brain health to decline over a period of time. So we do not do that. Are you doing yoga? Are you doing meditation? Great. There's great amount of research behind that. But if you're doing it too much, that is also an avoidant behavior. So a life of balance is important. Anything out of balance, which means that you're not going to really, benefit out of it. It's only something that you're doing as a painkiller, right? So that's the other bit that I would like to put out over here. The significant thing is this, that now it is now becoming a part of our everyday lexicon, our everyday lives. People are investing in this. So get on to that. There should be no fear of missing out. There should be no FOMO around this. Join that community of people who are invested in brain health. Okay. You can always fall back on the earlier ways of being and thinking, but remember that your workplace is not going to forgive you much now. Why? Because we belong to the VUCA world. What is the VUCA world? The VUCA world, simply put, is now going to bring in a huge amount of workforce which are emotionally intelligent, which have worked on their brain, which are more creative, which are more innovative. And if you're not going to do that, there are chances that you will not be required by these organizations. So the other prediction is that by 2025, almost 50% of the people will be out of jobs. Okay, the workforce will be people with higher amount of emotional intelligence and better brain development. So if your children are in that stage where they can be, easily molded, bring them on, become thought leaders in your families, and create an environment that can help them do all of these things. Are they looking after the thought process? Are their daily habits something that can support healthy brains? If not, then you need to have an intervention. That's very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So that's that. If you have any questions, I'm still looking to any questions coming up. Okay. What about meditating to rewire our brains? Fantastic questions. Okay. Meditation shows that your brains are changing if you meditate on a daily basis. The universities in the Harvard University has conducted a huge research upon how the brain looks different. So yes, meditation is important. You can do into various, there's loving kindness meditation that you can do. That's great to get you back into your groove and stop the stress management. You can do other chakra based meditations, that's also fantastic. You can do breathing meditations, you can do Hakomi meditations, you can do Zen meditations, you can do Tai Chi. Any of these things are also equally meditative in their approach. Okay. But again, meditation is not something that we can do for stopping and not working upon our thoughts. It doesn't work like that. You work on your thoughts, you do your meditation, okay, you do your food and nutrition guide, you do your exercise. There's no one thing that can compensate for the others. It has to be all across. On your platter of brain rewiring, these should be equally placed. Exercise, nutrition and Bdnf, exercise and Bdnf, meditation, yes, for sure. Also thought stopping and thought therapy as well, okay, and stress management activities. All right. So somatic experiencing, or what we did the evening techniques, are all somatic tools. Why? Because all your stress is in your body, ladies and gentlemen. So a lot of people say that, I'm having these butterflies in my stomach. Okay, I'm so nervous. But then why is my stomach acting up? Because your fear resides in your stomach. Okay, your unforgiveness resides in your heart area. Okay, your lack of courage or your inability to speak up resides in your throat area. So chakra healing is fantastic. We would really, it's a great way to get rid of all of that. And so yes, meditation does help rewiring your brain, but not by itself, in concomitance with other tools as well. Okay. The other thing is that gratitude is important. Are you waking up to a grateful mind or not? Gratitude is supposed to rewire your brain like nothing else does. Okay, so gratitude meditations are also fantastic. You can go into that, get up in the morning, do some gratitude activities, and feel the change that immediately leads to growth mindset, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm still waiting for some more interesting questions. If you have right here, I'm willing to take them for you. Yeah. So it's important that we understand that your body is also experiencing all the emotions that you're experiencing right now. Your body embodies all your emotions. So don't forget to work on that. Don't become too cerebral. It's not all up here, it's also down in your body, in your gut. Your gut is supposed to be the second brain, right? So work with your second brain, work with your gut. Yeah. So that is that. And if anybody has more questions, I'm still waiting. And I have had only one or two, and I'd like to have some more up here. Okay. Any questions that you have on the neurons or the dendrites or the synaptic connections? There's a lot of technical data and a lot of scientific jargon around that. And so my job was to bring it down to simple, essential facts that we can use it on our everyday lives and use it for, for a workplace as well. So if you have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, I would be happy to take them. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And so this actually, these books that you're going into really help you in understanding a little more on this. So in your free time, do not go out of stress and start doing habitual things that you always do. Don't do that. Try something new. Being curious is the quality of a child, and being curious is the most important thing. So be like a child, be open to experiences, have fun learning, do different things. If something is stressful, acknowledge the stress, work upon it, and go back and rewire your brain. And bit by bit, you will start having control and claiming back your territories of your brain one by one. The funny thing is that anybody who has gone through mental trauma or has had a trauma injury, their language ability gets stopped. So if you have a language ability which you can't express yourself, can't make meaning out of things, please look into it. It's something that you need to work upon as well. Yeah. So and if you have anything that you would like to talk about or ask, there's a whole set of data on YouTube. If we don't do that, then we probably are missing about a lot in our lives. So yeah, that is what we need to do. And yeah. Great, that's fantastic. How can we introduce brain rewiring in a workplace? So I'm not advertising myself, but then my company does this. We introduce at work, we introduced holistic programs which have also got brain rewiring at your workplace. So it is important that the organizations and the management understands that a lot of people who do not perform well are actually trauma victims themselves, either of a brain impact or mental trauma, and therefore we need to rewire them heavily. It does not happen over a period of one training session. It has to be a consistent effort. So, as people are transitioning through their workplaces, we need to be partnering them throughout those times. At every single step, there are a huge amount of programs which are available, which can help you assess their brain as of right now, help them to move on to new and healthier methods. But it cannot be a stopgap approach. It cannot be a band aid. Okay, unless organizations become trauma informed, we will not be able to change the narrative around brain. That's the big question. Is the organization understanding that people who are happy, they go lucky? Happy go lucky, that is a research based understanding of success. It is not something that is just an adage. So happier people, curious people, learn people who learn better are also people who do not have trauma, and they do much better at their workplaces. Yeah, so that is what we can do. um, Please, another question is the difference between our age and the brain's age. Okay, so the brain's age is there is nothing like a brain age. The brain does not age, like we had discussed in the very beginning. There is no age to your brain. Okay, it does not decline with the age. You can rewire it, reconfigure it. There's no correlation to your age. That is why you have some brilliant 90-year-old, 95-year-old people who have great lives. Yeah, they have more productive lives. It doesn't matter if their brain age is if their actual age is 10 or 20 or 30 or 40. Your brain age can remain the same, provided you do the right uh, lifestyle choices and you have the due diligence for it. Okay. So, and coming back to the introducing of brain rewiring in a workplace, it has to be a overhaul. It cannot be a stopgap approach. Unfortunately, a lot of organizations are not trauma informed and they do not understand the science behind performance. Until they do, you can definitely start to work on your own self, because people look out for people who are successful. Unfortunately, the science of success has to be done, whole hog. It cannot be for only one set of people or two sets of people. So from the time that you join an organization till the end, there have to be interventions ready for you for every single stage, and that unfortunately is a conversation that is not happening in lots of places. Yeah. So any other questions? I'd be happy to take. Yeah. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? Questions, ideas, queries, most welcome here. Yeah. Yeah. So I we also need to understand that a lot of the professionals are struggling. In my experience with work life, I've seen that predominantly by the age of 35 to 40, a lot of professionals lose their steam and they forget what it was like to be like that. And so this is really something that we need to understand, that organizations, if they have to be healthy organizations, it has to be a top to the bottom approach. The fish always rots from the top, as they say. And if we don't apply these to our lives, if we don't apply these to the professional lives, it's not going to help to have the middle management or the juniors or the executives work upon something when the senior management is also not being invested in that. That's one question that we need to have. And yes, it's important that we uh, realize the extent of damage that this kind of workplace is doing to people, because by the time they're 45 and 50, they're only waiting for retirement. And so yes, we need to address this. That's a conversation that I think we would like to have. Yeah. So these are my thoughts for today, and if there are any other questions, I'd be very, very happy to take them right now. This, I think, we'll be winding up in a minute or two or maybe more. So if you have anything that you would like to ask, please do ask me. Okay. Anybody? Anybody for more questions? Yeah. Yeah. So this is what we're talking about now, and I'm really happy that we are beginning to think on these lines. Yeah, but it's not going to help us if we just leave it at this. Okay, the important bottom line is this: that if you're having a problem in your life, do not rule out brain functioning. Do not. If you are suffering in life, do not please stop and start understand that brain function might be at the bottom of it, and that will really help you a lot. And that brings me to the end of my session today. Thank you all so much for being with me. I hope it has helped a little. 1 hour is a short time for a huge subject like this, but I've been trying to get some weaving in some information and some techniques that can help you on an everyday basis. And thank you, TDRA, once again for your time and for inviting me. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here. And I look forward to seeing you all once again. Thank you.